And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
大きい画面で見るといいですね。
そうですね。It's really nice to see it on a big screen.
はい、ということで以上オールドシャーリアンに向かう船の上で聞くことになるエメト・セルクのナレーションでした。
So this was, of course, Emmett Selk's narration when you are on the boat to Old Charlian.
なんでここは最初にして行月の総括みたいな部分なので、ほとんどの行に注釈をつけていました。
Obviously, this is the very beginning of Endwalker. It's like your first taste. So pretty much all of these lines had some kind of note on them.
その中でこの2箇所に対する注釈の内容をご紹介したいと思います。
But for now, I want to talk about the contents of the notes on these two lines in particular.
まず上の方についてはこれを喋っているエメト・セルクがどういう状況なのかっていうのを注釈で入れていました。
So on this second line here, I added a note about, all right, so Emmett Selk is narrating, but where is he? How is he doing that?
ウルティマトゥーレに到着した際のナレーションで気づいた方もいらっしゃると思うんですけれども、行月のナレーションはエメト・セルクの正解からの実況中継です。
So you might have noticed this from the narration in Ultima Thule, but Emmett Selk is narrating from the Ethereal Sea.
だから彼が覗き見れないエルピス編だけ実はナレーションがありませんでした。
Which is why, of course, the only section where this formal narration by Emmett Selk doesn't happen is in Elpis.
だからただ覗き見てないとしても、正解で魂が現れたことによってエルピスでの出来事はしっかり思い出しています。
At this point, when he's in the ethereal sea, obviously his soul has been cleansed of the fake memories implanted by Kairos, so he now remembers the truth of the final days.
ちょっと聞いてみたかったんだけど、エメト・セルクって正解からさ、実は昔エルピスで会ったことがあるっていうのを思い出したエメト・セルクが見ながら彼の旅を追ってるのは間違いないんだけど、独り言なのか、隣にヒトロがいる前提で喋ってるのか、あれどっちのつもりで書いたの？ちなみに。
One thing I did want to ask you, Natchan, when Emmett Selk is kind of doing his narration in the ethereal sea, and when he recalls his memory from when he was in Elpis, and I was wondering, he's narrating this, but then is he kind of revisiting his sort of memories and kind of talking to himself, or is it implied that like Hythlodaeus was like with him and he's kind of talking with him?
基本は演劇好きの彼が演劇好きなりにつらつらと自分の心の中で思っていることなんですけれども、
Well, for the most part, right, Emmett Selk is a very theatrical character, so in a theatrical fashion, he's sort of soliloquizing.
途中でヒトロダイウスがゾディアークの魂から解放されて合流してからは一緒に喋ってます。
But after the point that we sort of have Hythlodaeus reunite soul-wise, then they can sort of start speaking with one another.
解釈が合っててよかったです。
Oh, I'm glad my interpretation was correct.
はい、すいません。
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt there.
一回クリックお願いします。
はい。
で、また、日本語では私たちとなっていますが、これは同じく正解から育成を見守っているベーネスのことになります。
Right, so one of the ways that this situation is communicated in Japanese is that in Japanese it has the word we in it. And there was a note that this is referring to Vina, who is also in the ethereal sea. So you have this idea that they're both there together.
で、私が書いたその注釈を受けて直接 We と言っていない英語でもある工夫がされています。
Of course, English did not use the we directly, but instead played on this note that we were given.
じゃあせっかくなんでケイトさん説明お願いしていいですか？
Can you explain that to us, Kate? Yes, I can. Okay, so there are a couple things going on here. So for one thing, the we in Japanese is incorporated in this very nice way where you realize that he's saying like, oh, the we of us now, sort of like he's in this separate location, but we were afraid that if we stuck that into the English without like a really long explanation, it would sound like, yeah, we don't know what the future is. And it's like, are you my friend now? Like, what do you do? It would be very out of character for Emet-selk. So instead, we took this thing that you are designed to understand the Vina is there later, but not at this point. At this point, you're just supposed to be like, huh, that's interesting. So what we did is we instead incorporated that nuance into the entirety of the speech. So, click 一つお願いします。
はい。
So if you look at these middle lines here,
Oh.
you can see that some phrasings are a bit more Vena-like, and some of them will be echoed in her later lines. So when you look at this scene in retrospect, you can tell, okay, he's not only speaking for himself, he's speaking for all of the ancients in the Ethereal Sea.
すみません、ありがとうございます。つまり続くセリフにベーネスっぽい言い回しを入れるっていう形で対応してくれているということですね。
はい。
では次にこのブロックの最後のセリフも見ていきましょう。
Now let's look at this very last line here.
ここは、週末の経緯も思い出しているエメトセルクの言葉なので、このセリフも2つの意味を持っています。
Given that this is the Emet-selk who knows the truth of the final days, this line actually has two meanings.
1つ目の意味は読んで字の通り。
The first is probably what you would immediately guess from reading it.
正解の最奥で全てを知っているハイデリンが待っているぞということです。
In the depths of the star, in the ethereal sea, Heidelin, who knows all, is waiting for you.
でもう一つの意味、もう一つの星と命の沈む海底は絶望のうちに死んだ生命たち、星の残骸が漂う宇宙のことです。
But the other part of the depths here is actually at the very end of the universe, where all of the fallen civilizations and their stars are resting.
その果てに宇宙の果てに待っているのは先行く星々が終わることに希望を求めたという真実です。
And the truth that awaits there is the truth of all of these stars that have fallen, the end of everything.
彼らの思いを引き受けてしまった終焉を歌う者が待っているぞということでした。
In other words, what awaits you there is the entity that has taken on all of these feelings from these dead worlds, the end singer.
だからまあ今回のストーリー、作っていく上ではやっぱり結末がしっかりある程度見えている状態、プロットが書き上がっている状態からテキストを起こしていくからこそ、その2つの意味をちゃんと一番最初のテキストに込められるっていうことだよね。
So yeah, because we are thinking about our story, we would build a plot line first before we actually do the deeper writing into it, and we already have this end in sight, and we have decided on how it would pan out. We were able to know ahead of time to make sure that we are incorporating that sort of twofold meaning.
だから実際こういう注釈っていうのが細かくあればあるほどお互いの意思疎通ができてクオリティが上がるんだけど、注釈がないただの文章だけでやっぱり見てしまうと何のことを言ってるのかがやっぱりさっぱりわからないまま翻訳するっていうことになっちゃうので、とても重要ですねやっぱり。
And of course, with these notes, I think the more we provide context for the localization team, it clearly indicates the intention behind the writers, the main scenario writers, and it really kind of brushes up the quality. It makes it just so much better to have that sort of synergy. So, and plus, just looking at a set of like string of text, it makes it difficult to understand like where a person's coming from and what is being trying to be conveyed.
ちょうど今行月の始まりと終わりの話が出たので繋いじゃいますけど、行月は本当に前々から月に行くとは言ってたけど、まさか宇宙まで行くことになるとはっていう感じでしたね。
I mean, we're sort of talking about it now, going to the end of the universe, and and getting to this point, and really, it was a long journey.
まあそうですね、まあ毎回ね、基調講演ファンフェスでこう話すときって大概ね、ここに行くぞって言ってからその先がみたいなのが毎回多いじゃない。アラミゴ行くぞって言って東も行ったりとか。
For sure, and it's interesting because with every keynote that we do, we would mention this is our next destination, this is where the next adventure is going to take place, and we actually have something else that's in store. For example, when we did Stormblood, we were talking about we're heading to Alamigo, but we actually were also going to the Hingashi realm as well.
まあだからレベル83ぐらいでもう月行ってるもんね。
And I mean, it was kind of early on, like level 83-ish, when we were already at the moon.
まあ月行っちゃったらその先まで行くしかないって感じでしたもんね。
I mean, after we went to the moon, we were like, well, now we gotta go even further, I think.
まあこの後どうするかね。マルチバースだって言っとけば大丈夫かな。
I mean, I don't know what we would do beyond here. Maybe we can all explain it away as like a multiverse or something.
みんなだって嫌でしょ、急に14がマルチバースになったら。
No, then we'd cause problems for everybody in the audience if we just were like, oh, it's a multiverse.
まあでもほら共造世界がもうすでにそんなようなもんだからさ。
But I mean, we have our different shards and the realms.
じゃあまあ冒険の舞台はまだまだいっぱいあるぞということで。
ありますありますね。
Well, in other words, we definitely have a lot of places our adventure can still take us.
Yep, for sure.
じゃあはいすいません、パネルの内容に戻りたいと思います。
はい。
Let's bring it back around a little bit.
さて、次はちょっとまた違う種類の注釈について。
All right, I'm going to talk about a different kind of annotation.